Hey guys, welcome to Wrestling Days. So this is a Raw review video and we're just going to do it in one take again. I've got loads and loads of notes here, so we need to go right into it because there's loads to talk about. Just want to give a quick shout out to Jason Power. Thanks a lot for watching, mate, really do appreciate it. So let's talk about Raw. Raw this week started with a food fight. It felt like 10 minutes, if not longer. They really could have done something better with having all of the superstars in the same room at the same time. I know it's not really aimed at me, that kind of segment. You know, if you're a kid, I should imagine you thought it was hysterical. And there's a few cool moments, you know, like where Kevin Owens kind of looks around and goes under the table and gets out of the way. I mean, the whole thing finishes with him getting like a pie in the face. That's the kind of humour they were going for. But there was just so much stuff to this, like Jericho finding a Band-Aid in his whatever he was eating, and Heath Slater being put through the table. Golden Truth was singing. It's like a horrible, horrible nightmare. If you've not seen it, honestly, you've not missed anything. It was one of the weirdest starts to Raw I have ever seen. Straight after that, Lillian Garcia did, I think it was the national anthem, the American US national anthem, Star Spangled Banner, and she's got a great voice. It was cool. It was, you know, I get it. What I loved was the fact that she did this really patriotic kind of song, you know, the national anthem, really big sound, and then Rusev comes out, which I thought was brilliant. I thought the counterpoint on that was absolutely brilliant. So he came out. He has a match against Uncle Sam, Titus O'Neil, decked out in his full-on Uncle Sam attire, and the match was okay. Interestingly, they said Titus had never been a singles champion within 6.5 years of being on the roster, which I thought was quite interesting. He hurled Titus into the steps. Great show of strength from Titus. Clash of Titus. He hit Rusev with that. Titus basically taps out to the accolade, and it kind of felt a little bit flat. I don't know, I didn't know if they might change the title, you know, it was kind of building up towards it, but I really like how after the match, Rusev always, you know, is shouting stuff out about, you know, Happy Father's Day or Happy Independence Day, and you're constantly waiting for someone to come down the ramp and, you know, give him what for. No one ever comes. I didn't know if Darren Young might come out, help out his old tag team partner, but it wasn't to be. So, yeah, an okay match, not amazing. Very weird start to Raw though. After that, we had the Social Outcasts come out, dressed in like Patriots kind of attire. They went up against Enzo Amore and Big Cass. Star Spangled Banter. I loved it when Enzo said that. That kind of for me sums up the show. It was very US themed, and there was quite a lot of talking, quite a lot of banter. So Star Spangled Banter. Enzo goes through and names all of the previous presidents, which was really impressive. It was a squash match. Massive boot from Big Cass. I mean, like, almost took Bo Dallas's head off. It was insane. Yeah, the match was done. It was alright. It was just alright. It was announced that we'll get Ziggler versus Seth tonight as well, so really looking forward to that. Unfortunately, when it gets to the match, Ambrose is on commentary, and he kind of ruins it for me, because I really wanted them to focus on these two great in-ring technicians, Dolph Ziggler, Seth Rollins, one-on-one. Just rip it apart, give them half an hour, whatever they need, give it to them, because they can put on a show. And instead, it's, you know, it's like a 15-minute match, and it's a decent match, but the focus is more on Dean Ambrose on commentary than it is on the actual match, and I was a bit disappointed with it. Next up, we had a little bit with Charlotte and Sasha, the building towards that. The key takeaway thing from that was Charlotte. It was a good promo. Charlotte saying, "You're not the boss. You're not even in the conversation." Sasha turns around and goes, "I am the conversation." Awesome, loved it. Next up, Ambrose versus Miz. I mean, this is like happening not even halfway in the show. Ambrose versus Miz, WWE Champion against Intercontinental Champion. This is the match that headlined WrestleMania 6, not Ambrose Miz, but Hulk Hogan against the Ultimate Warrior, Champion versus Champion. And we're getting it halfway during a really weird Raw. It was weird. Granted, the titles weren't on the line, but as I've put in my notes here, it's not really Hogan Warrior. Ambrose wins with dirty deeds, and then, as I said, he goes and joins the Spanish announce table. It was really cool, actually, because Ambrose left the ring and went up the ramp, and he kind of, like, you know, walks past Seth. I think he gives him a little pat on the bottom as well, a little bit of a off you go, mate, because Seth was in his match against Dolph next. But you know, Ambrose stands at the top of the ring, and like his face just changes, and like he starts getting wound up and worked up, and I loved it. You didn't know what he was going to do, and what he does is he goes into the ring, past Seth, straight to the Spanish announce table, and then starts talking in Spanish about what he's going to do at Battleground and how he's going to win and all that kind of stuff. As I said, that moment was awesome, but the fact was, it really took away from the match, because when they started the match, Ambrose was still on the Spanish announce table, then he moves over to the English announce table, and it was just a distraction. The match was, as I say, good. Rollins won with the pedigree, and then he goes on the announce table, on top of the announce table, Seth, and starts talking about how Roman Reigns has disgraced himself. He shouldn't be in the triple threat. He's meant to be a role model, and he's cheated his way to the top, just like everyone in the audience have cheated their ways to the top. It's a great promo. Love the fact they're still using Roman's suspension. I suppose they have to, in a way, otherwise there's a danger he might fall out of the conversation. I mean, he's not going to, is he? But I can understand why they're kind of talking about him, referencing him. If you can't be there in person, you might as well talk about him. But I loved it. And Ambrose basically, I think, delivers dirty deeds to Seth. Hits Seth with dirty deeds. That is kind of how Raw would normally finish. And as we said, there's still half the show to go at this point. Really weird placing for me this was in the card. Next, it was announced that we find out who Brock Lesnar will face at SummerSlam. To speculate on that, my first thought was Bray, but then obviously Bray's caught up with the New Day, but there's nothing to say that is going to run all throughout towards SummerSlam. It might do. I hope it does. I'm really into the Wyatt New Day story. If it's not going to be Bray, then it could be the champion. It could be the winner of the triple threat, couldn't it? It could be whoever wins at Battleground goes on to face Brock Lesnar. I mean, he did beat Dean Ambrose at WrestleMania. If Dean emerges victorious at Battleground, then yeah, Lesnar deserves a title shot. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was the winner of the triple threat. I would love for it to be like a surprise return. I'd love for it to be like Kurt Angle would be really cool. I don't know if Kurt could really go in the ring, and certainly not up against someone like Brock. I mean, they have fought before famously, but Brock's just getting bigger and stronger, and Kurt's kind of coming more towards the end of his career now. So I don't know. I'm really intrigued to see. We'll kind of find out today, because they'll record SmackDown today, and then they'll show it on Thursday. So it'll be out there later today on the internet. So yeah, we'll have to see what they've got planned. Bray Wyatt promo, as we said, I thought this was brilliant. He's asking the New Day to come and join us. He's basically inviting them around to this kind of weird shack where he kind of supposedly lives. Yeah, I kind of like this. It's got like an American Horror Story to it. It feels like we might see quite a bit of the New Day go into where Bray is. It's gonna have like TV kind of show elements to it. I'm really into it. I don't want to see just match after match after match after match, and certainly not matches that are meant to be like, you know, pay-per-view quality. I don't want to see The Miz against Cesaro, The Miz against Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn against Cesaro, Jericho against Cesaro. We're just getting these same combinations of matches. If they're going to fill up a bit of TV time by giving us some, you know, more interest in storyline development, where the New Day are actually going to go to you know, Wyatt's compound, I am fully on board with it. I'm really into this this story at the moment. Cool little promo on Baron Corbin, and actually when they cut back to the commentary team, you could tell that they were like watching it, and I think Michael Cole said, or JBL, that Corbin's one of the most physically impressive call-ups they've seen for years and years and years. Like, they're really trying to build this guy up, so that's cool. You know, I never like to see NXT talent get buried, and they're not doing that with Corbin, so not yet anyway. Vickie Guerrero next, and she was saying we need to try and get hashtag Vickie runs SmackDown live trending. It won't trend. But she got taken away by security. This is the first Raw I can remember where there was no Steph or Shane. Neither of them are on the show. So Vickie was just taken off with security, and then JBL had to stand up and go, Vickie Guerrero, everybody. It was a little bit weird. Dolph backstage runs into Vickie. Vickie's like, Dolph, so great to see you. And Dolph's like, I've never seen this woman before in my life. And so the security throw her out. It's a nice little moment. What made that moment, though, absolutely brilliant, is that he picks up his phone. He goes, hey, Mum, yeah, it's me. Yeah, I've lost again. I came really close this time, though. It was just a cool little moment. Next up, we had Vaudevillains against the Golden Truth, and as soon as I saw that Breezango were ringside, I didn't know if Breezango were going to get involved and cost Golden Truth the victory. Unfortunately, what happened was much worse, and that was the Golden Truth beat Vaudevillains clean. Vaudevillains, you know, we've just spoken about how we're worried about NXT talent getting buried on the main roster. Well, yeah, and I love Vaudevillains as well. It's really, hopefully it's just not their time, but then, you know, saying that, when is the Ascension's time going to come? Because they've been on the roster a couple of years now, and it's not looking good for that tag team at all. So hopefully the Vaudevillains aren't going that way. Backlund, yeah, the Backlund promo. I see a lot of people saying they don't like these Bob Backlund, Darren Young promos. That's fine. A lot of them do miss the mark. This one had me going, yes. I was like proper into it. The reason I was into it was that Backlund was going, what is your submission hold? Darren Young's like, I haven't really got one. And he's like, well, you shouldn't be a chicken. And he gave him his chicken wing, his cross-face chicken wing. Backlund is known for that hold, the cross-face chicken wing. And this is a promo where he's gifted it to Darren Young. He's saying, look, use my move. You've got to remember, Bob Backlund's second longest reigning WWE champion of all time. This guy is legend with a capital legend. He is amazing. And he has just given permission for Darren Young to use his submission hold. I'm into this. I'm really into this. Next up, another segment that I was into was Cena and the club. Brilliant. You know, Cena talking about how the crowd were a little quiet, and they were actually at times, but he kind of fired them up. And then the club came out, and they came out with this fantastic line that I'm just seeing all over Twitter. They're talking about things they're going to do, and then they say then they're going to beat up John Cena. So I think it was Luke Gallows. He says, yeah, for Halloween I'm going to dress up as a bushwhacker. I'm going to dress up as Bushwhacker Luke, or Butch, can't remember which one he said. And I'm going to go around, have a good time, and then I'm going to beat up John Cena. And then there was talk about, you know, what they're going to do at Christmas, and then they're going to beat up John Cena. They just kept talking about, and then we're going to beat up John Cena. I'm seeing loads of great tweets on this. It's great line. Hashtag beat up John Cena is trending. So yeah, they're onto something there. So they came down, started beating up John Cena, which they said they're just going to do for the rest of time because they're sick of seeing Cena as the man, and this is what they're here to kind of rid WWE of. Enzo and Big Cass came back out, made the save. Match is made at Battleground. It's going to be Cena, Enzo, Big Cass against the Club, which I think will be a really good match. And it's kind of, you know, it's another example, I suppose, of Cena getting a bit of, you know, heat from the hottest guys at the moment, and you'd struggle to find people any hotter than Enzo and Big Cass, so Cena's obviously just dipping into a bit of that. But it's good for them as well, because it puts them right in this massive feud. So, yeah, it was good. It was great all round. Next up, Becky, who is really growing on me. I'm starting to become a big Becky Lynch fan. Becky against Summer Rae. She just, I can't remember what she shouted something before she went running over into the corner and beating up Summer Rae. Something like Red Fire or something like this, and she goes storming over and bang, 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 bang. Really, really good. It was, you know, not a technically fantastic match, and one hell of a botch from Summer Rae. She tries to do this snap suplex. She basically just like chucks Becky Lynch on her head. It's pretty brutal, and it wasn't meant to be brutal. So Becky Lynch picks up the victory, and with the disarmer, and we're moving towards Becky against Natalya at Battleground. Next up, we had, is this the last page of my notes? The last page of my notes. We had the New Day, and they came out with America, which I thought was great as well. So they came out and they're talking, and you know, they're talking about how they've been invited to go to the Wyatt's compound. They're laughing and joking. Xavier goes, "Look, you're not taking this serious. Wyatt's, you know, is a bad man, and this could be the end of the New Day." Just gets out of the ring and walks off. Been teasing this for weeks. Xavier's something up with Xavier, but it just makes me want to watch that whole kind of them go into the compound even more. So I'm really into this storyline. Then we got to the final match, and I've got to say that Raw was very up and down, but as you can tell, there's a few moments in there that I was quite passionate about, that I think they did really well on. This was not the episode I was fearing, because this was the July 4th episode. I just thought it was going to be a load of gimmick matches. I didn't think there'd be any real storyline development, and I just thought it'd be one of those that you could just, you know, it doesn't matter if you see it or not. In truth, a large part of it was that way, but there was still some really great moments. As we said, that Bob Backlund moment, I really enjoyed. Cena and the Club. I really enjoyed Seth Rollins against Dolph Ziggler. You know, that was really cool. Ambrose Miz was all right. The food fight was just weird. I didn't really enjoy that. So, yeah, not a classic episode, but not the disaster I was expecting either. And then that brings us to the last match. And I really liked this kind of how they structured this. I liked the majority of the match, but once it got down to the last participants, I was done. I was out. You know, Jericho really made this match for me. Jericho's having a fantastic year. And so we had Dudley's and Apollo Crews, Big Show, Zack Ryder, Mark Henry, Jack Swagger, who can't get onto Raw and then turns around and he's in the main event, and Kane as Team USA, going up against Jericho, Lucha Dragons, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Alberto Del Rio, and Sheamus. And this was an elimination match. If you're pinned, if you're disqualified, whatever it is, counted out, you're out. And then which team wins? Everybody knew Team USA was going to win. No great surprise. And the bits that I got put down is there was a nice moment between Swagger and Cesaro. I thought they worked well together. And it was mentioned they used to be in a tag team, Real Americans. Pop-up powerbomb from Kevin Owens on Mark Henry. It's a thing of beauty. It was a great moment. Loads of infighting amongst the teams. I was really pleased to see Owens and Sami Zayn come to blows, because they can't work together. You can't tell me for like over a year, maybe longer, in fact definitely longer, year and a half, 2 years, that these guys hate each other, and then you put them on the same tag team. So to see them two come to blows was the right call. Ryder eliminates Cesaro, and it whittles down to Zack Ryder and Big Show against Sheamus. Good night, everybody. You know, that is not how you close out a Raw, but they've done it again. They've given Zack Ryder another moment. So he won the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, and now he wins it for Team USA. It's really weird how they're treating Ryder. They're treating him like they used to treat Dolph Ziggler. So I don't know. We'll have to see if he gets any more opportunities, but I think they're trying to build him up because they know they need people. It might be why they put Swagger in the match as well, because they know they need people. That was Raw. It was okay. Let me know what your thoughts are. Drop it in the comments below, or you can let me know on Twitter at Wrestling Days UK. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, it'd be crazy good if you did. And hopefully I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.